Hi everyone, Mike here, and we're going to discuss live streams. How do you be more confident when you're going live? So we're talking Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, some people are on LinkedIn, you've got Periscope, you've got a whole heap of other places. Even YouTube allows you to go live. And a lot of people are scared of it. This might be you. So if you're watching this, you are probably afraid of going live. You're probably afraid of putting yourself out there live and on camera. And I'm going to give you a few things that you can think about that can help you improve your confidence with it. All right. So the first thing we're going to dive into is knowing yourself, because there's a lot of people that are talking about, okay, who do you want to be on camera? Who do you want to be when you go live? How do you want to show up? And that's fine. That's very helpful when you start to get the ball rolling. But when you're starting and you're struggling, you're having a hard time putting yourself out there on camera, trying to figure out who you want to be is different, because it can feel like it's too far away from where you are right now. So self-awareness is key. How do you want to show up? It's fine, but how would I show up? What would I say? What would I do? Where would I put my arms? Where would I put my eyes? Where would I look? How would I put my body? What would I say? How would I say it? That's better than how do I want to say it? Problem is we don't know the answers to those questions. But a simple self-awareness sort of routine and self-talk that you go through can make a massive difference to your confidence, because you know who you are, you know what you want to say, and there you go. There's a lot of the reasons why people don't go live, things like not knowing what to say, not knowing how to say it, not knowing where to put themselves, right? They don't know themselves enough when they're on camera. Now, the trick, obviously, is to make sure those two things are similar. So you don't want to be too different on camera to when you're off camera, because you've got to put on a bit of a mask for when you do it, which is fine. You know, I'm a bit more of a more upbeat person when I'm on camera compared to when I'm not. And that's okay, because you're matching the situation. You know, if I was all doom and gloom and like, I'm having a bad moment when I'm on camera, that's not going to help. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help me. So you've got to figure out, okay, what's the confident version of myself? Not being somebody else, not trying to be somebody else. You're being a different version of you. You're being the camera version of you. That's what it's all about. And when you go live, it is a bit different to when you do videos. It is a bit different. There's no way of getting around that. Because when you do videos, you can redo them, you can edit them, you can add filters, you can add text, you can do whatever you want once you've recorded the video. When you go live, that's it. There's no script, there's no redos, there's no any of that stuff. It's all live and it's all in your face straight away. Which means you can do them when you're out for a walk, you can do them when you're, people do like live cookery shows and things of that nature. So you can do lives anywhere. That kind of reduces the expectation of what people would expect when you go live versus watching a video like this one. So live streams can have a lower expectation of things like quality. Now, there are systems you can use, there are softwares that you can use that can upgrade your quality when you do go live. But when you're doing like an Instagram live, or you're on Facebook going out for a walk and you just have something to say, turn the camera on, turn the live on and go for it. People do that. Loads of people do live streams in any situation that they find themselves in. They say different things, they do different things. So the freedom to do what you want, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, is a lot higher because of that freedom. So don't worry too much about the quality of the video. Don't worry too much about the lighting has to be right and all those things. As long as people can see you and understand what it is that they're watching, then great. You know, you're doing the thing, if you will. You're doing the thing. And sometimes repetition can help you discover how you do things a lot more. It's a massive self-discovery thing when you start putting yourself out there on camera, because some people don't like looking at themselves, some people don't like hearing themselves speak, some people don't like a lot of how they show up. It's awkward, it's odd, it's weird to listen to yourself speak. It's not something that's natural. If you don't know what to say, you don't know how to say it, you don't know where to put your hands, whatever it happens to be, there's a couple of things that we can do. The first thing is you want to figure out whether it's true or not. Because we have this distinction between what we believe and what's actually the case. Sometimes we blend those two together. So the truth just becomes what you believe. And we believe that more because we don't like to be improved wrong. We'd rather not do our Instagram lives or Twitter lives than be proved wrong. We'd much rather just not bother. Because it contradicts what we think, it contradicts what we believe. So we don't want to do that. So what would you rather do? Not do them, right? It just makes sense. But what we need to figure out is if you want to go live and you want to do more live streams, but you're struggling with things like quality of the video, that we've just spoken about. So you don't need to worry about that because lives allowed you to reduce the studio quality of what it is that you do. Next is about what do I say? Well, if this is the case, if you don't know what to say, and you genuinely don't know what to say, what would I say? I would lose my words, if you will. I wouldn't know what to say. I'd lose my strain of thought, and then I'll struggle. What you can do, if this is true, so questioning is important. Being self-aware of how you would do it is very important, because you will probably do these videos different to me. You will probably do your videos different to somebody else. Okay, that's just the way it is. That's just the way we come across. We are all different, very minutely, in lots of different ways. So you are going to be different. That's the way it is. And there's a level of acceptance that you'll have to get to before you're okay to be different. All right, that is one of the things that you've got to understand. Being okay with being different is important. Okay, but not knowing what to say can be a real thing. Losing your strain of thought can be a real thing. That's why there are blooper reels with like films and movies, because even the professionals mess up sometimes, and that's okay. You're allowed to mess up. You're allowed to lose your strain of thought because, well, you're human, so it's going to happen. And if you do it when you're on the live, have a contingency for it if it happens. Think about what you can do when that happens. You know, oh, I've lost my train of thought there. I was talking about this, this, and this, and I just went off on one, and, oh, okay, bring it back to this thing, and then you can go again. All right? You're proving that you're human in some ways, but loads of people want it to be perfect, and that stops them because perfect is impossible. Nothing is perfect. Nothing's going to be amazing and perfect the first time you do it. So don't compare yourself to other people's like 2000th video when you're doing your first. See, I messed up there, but we carry on. Things happen, things work, things don't work, and we move forwards and we move ahead. All right, that's just the way it works. That's just the way the world is. All right. But if you stop yourself from doing it, you don't also improve. I know my ability to maintain my strain of thought is getting better. It improves the more you do it. When I first did it, I had notes, I had bullet points, I memorized stuff before I went on. If it was really bad, which it was, I actually stuck it behind the camera, so that when I went live, I had the words there, and it was in front of the lens, so I didn't have to do this when I was looking and then back to the camera. I was able to look at the camera and just sort of glance a little bit. You very, very hard to tell because your eyes can move a little bit all the time. That's just natural. It's the way it is. I don't do that now, by the way. I've not got all that now because you get better. It's a way of learning. It's a way of progressively getting better. But how did you start? Do you have notes? Do you memorize stuff? Do you have a list of topics that you write out every week for the videos and live streams that you do? Think about how you can make it work. Because if you don't set yourself up to succeed, you won't. If you set yourself up to fail, you will. So figure out what you need to do. Figure out what you need to do to be able to start, to be able to get better, and then be able to take some of the stabilizers off your back. Get to a point where you can start to take some of the helping hands that you have. That's one of the signs that you're getting better, you know? When you take the stabilizers off your bike, you feel amazing. Take the notes away from the lens, if you will, behind the lens. That's a sign that you're improving because you don't need that anymore. There's nothing wrong with it. Loads of people do it. You see teleprompters all the time. So don't be afraid of doing that yourself. Because, for want of a better expression, they don't know that you don't know what you're doing. The example I always give is when I used to be a personal trainer, I used to deliver fitness classes. That was one of the things that I did. The first time that I did it, I used somebody else's music. I had no idea what I was doing, never delivered the class before. It was a spinning class, so I was on the bike. I got on the bike, winged it pretty much. Didn't know what I was saying, didn't know what I was doing. All I knew was how to do a spin class. Teaching I'd never done before. But I got on, did what I could, got off the bike. Everyone was like tired and dying and sweat was everywhere. And I said, you know, what did you think of the class? Oh, it was amazing. It was really good. It was this, and this. And I said to him, I said, this was my first one. I'd never done it before. I had no idea what I was doing. And I pretty much made it up on the spot. And he turned around to me and he said, I didn't know that. You couldn't tell. You would not have been able to tell that I didn't know what I was doing. That's the same thing. It's the same thing when you go live. When you go live, people don't know what to expect. People don't know what you're going to say. People don't know what you're going to do. So all you've got to do is just be a bit more of an upbeat version of you when you turn the camera on, say whatever it is that you want to say, and that's it. Whatever it takes for you to do that is up to you. You know, we still have to plan things, we still organize things, we still do whatever it takes to be able to make it work and make it happen. But you've got to realize that if it's true, then you come up with the solution. If it's not true, you've got to pull that apart and realize that it's not true. It's not the case. You don't need to do that. You don't not know what you're talking about. You don't not feel good enough. It's not that. It's not good enough compared to what? You don't know what to say compared to what? Can you figure out what to say before you turn it on? Of course you can. I do. Loads of people do. There's nothing wrong in being prepared. Being prepared is actually a good sign because, hey, you take this seriously. It matters. So surely it would look a certain way. If you just turned it on and hoped for the best, the lighting was all over the place, you had no idea what you were doing, you were just sat there bored, turned it on, fingers crossed, eh? That's not going to come across as well as someone that plans, prepares, does a good job. That will come across as well. But be yourself, do a good job, do what it takes to actually overcome some of the things that are actually true when it comes to the stories you tell yourself. And then you don't have to handle something if it's not the case. If it's not actually true, you don't have to do anything about it. You just have to release your attachment to that story. Okay? Being confident isn't about being somebody else. Being confident isn't about being perfect. Being confident is actually being secure in yourself, Know who you are, know what you're all about, know how you would show up when you go live, and doing that. It's actually one of the easiest things to do. We make it difficult, we make it complicated because we try to be somebody else. We try to be somebody else who is confident. We model ourselves on somebody else rather than being our confident self, because that person will show up an awful lot better than the person that tries to be somebody else. I hope this is helping. Let me know if you enjoyed this one. If you're new to the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, give it a like so that you like the video, and spread the word, share it, tell people about this, because I think more and more people are comparing themselves more and more, and it's time to spread the message of being yourself. Being a different version of yourself is not the same as being somebody else. You're still you, just a different version of you. That's all that you need. That's all that it takes. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Share it, tell people about it, and I look forward to chatting to you again soon.